Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, dear fellow researchers. Again, I'm with you. And now, today, we are going to cover different questions related to your thesis. And these are the most important questions that any of the examiner can ask you while manipulating different words. Playing with the words, yes, that will be very important. They can ask the questions according to their approaches, but these questions most importantly will cover all of the criteria, all of the things that you are going to face in your Viva. So today we are going to cover mastering the Viva essential questions and expert answers for academic success. Here, Dr. Naima Adlib, and today I will be with you, and just stay in touch with me till end of your session, so you can get the complete guideline related to your Viva and how you need to attempt the questions. First of all, what Viva is. Actually, in every Viva, let's suppose you can talk about graduation, PhD, masters by research, or graduation by research, or PhD. PhD is always you can do by research. So in PhD, you are going to attempt your Viva while that is a walled room. Okay, and in that walled room, that is a specified room for Viva for every university. They dedicate the room for Viva. In that room, you do have your examiner, you do have your sometimes supervisor, or sometimes other fellows you also can invite, and sometimes that Viva are close-ended. Close-ended Viva means panel don't allow any external persons to join the Viva session. So if that is close-ended, you only can go to the Viva room and present your all of the study, all of the research front of your panel. Okay, and if that is open-ended, you also can invite your friends, your colleagues, or other supervisors. They also can come. If that is open-ended, maybe you need to face a lot of people in front of you, maybe 20 plus, 25, 40, 50. So this is the scenario in a difference between open-ended and closed-ended Viva. The next thing is, yes, what is a Viva? Yeah, again, this is actually whatsoever you already have did in your work. You need to give an oral examination, and that will be an opportunity for the candidates to defend their research, whatsoever they already have did in their research, and whatsoever the findings and positive outcomes of the study. They are going to present that outcomes front of the panel. Okay, let's start with the question number 1. What is your motivation for this study? Means what motivates you to attempt your study. Let's suppose you are doing a study on organizational culture, okay? And you are exploring how culture supports employees to be creative. In that scenario, you will respond to them. Actually, my motivation for PhD was always be there. And yes, my motivation for the cultures, I always curious about culture. I always love to explore the culture, behavior of the people related to in different culture, or in a country, working people in a country where diversity exists. So I love to explore the diversities in people and how they can be diversified, and they can be creative, and how different cultures, people from different cultures supports the creativity, or people to be more creative. So, so from whatsoever field you are, you need to actually give an outline of your study, and what was your motivation. Yes, your motivation from educational, your motivation to explore the culture, your motivation to be a good person, and why. Also, you can include your motivation related to your study, why you opt this study, means the PhD journey, because I really love to play a part in knowledge. in extension of theory, in extension of literature, and I always found very related, and I always love to explore, think about the things. So this is one way, and the other way you also can link your motivation to your topic. That would be a perfect answer if you love to explore your work from theoretical point of view. Your practical experience need to include over there, and how you motivate yourself. Let's suppose if you did your study in banking sector and you were previously employee of the banking sector, you can state this thing to them. Let's suppose my experience inclined me while I was working in the banking sector, or let's suppose if you are working in an industry, manufacturing industry. When I was working in manufacturing industry, that was a very great part of my experience, and I always try to find out best ways how to make the improvements and how improvements can bring into the work. So my practical experience give me or ignite me. That was a motivation that give ignition to my mind to explore this work for further. Yes, from the next question, what is the central research question or hypothesis of your research? So for the central research question, you need to explain what is the main research question of your hypothesis. Let's suppose you are doing a study on your work, and your work includes different questions and different hypotheses. The question related to developing the framework and exploration of that framework, that means, for example, the research question or objective is to explore this variable with this thing, or to develop a framework of this in this industry. So this would be a central research question or central aim of your study. And then the main hypothesis. Which hypotheses are the main hypothesis? So in this scenario, you can also show to them the main hypothesis. Let's suppose you do have some hypothesis in your work also. Means, let's suppose organizational culture has a positive impact with employee creativity. But there are main components of organizational culture. Let's suppose you take 4 parts, 5 parts, 6 parts, that would be the dimensions or element of organizational culture. But you can say the main hypothesis is this, and the hypothesis that is related to exploring the framework, let's suppose, which includes independent your variable mediator, and going towards your dependent variable, that hypothesis would be the big hypothesis, and you can say this is the main hypothesis. To understand the primary focus and aim of your research is the basic purpose of your study. So best need to state that answer. The hypothesis or aim, or whatsoever the aim of your research, you need to state that thing. First of all, while making the presentation, you need to write down what is the aim of my study, what are the main hypotheses of my work, and what are the objectives and research questions are there for my study. If even still, if there anything, you can always contact me. Okay. Can you summarize your research methodology? Why did you choose this approach? This is very important question. Once your panel comes to your research methodology, they always love to ask this question: what is your research methodology, or can you sum up your research methodology in few words? If you are doing your research in quantitative, qualitative, or mixed method research, and whatsoever the references are there, you can state your references, and you can say my research methodology techniques are these, which includes quantitative research methods and related to collection of the data. Yes, I use this technique and use this ways to collect the data. Yes. Why did you choose this approach? Previous literature supported me, or obviously when you already have choose one of the approach, because there are a bundle of studies and offering different methodology approaches, you also need to pick up one approach for your study, or the mixed method approach or other approaches. So when you are going for that approach, you need to justify your answer. In order to give the justification, you need to find out from the literature, why did you choose this approach? First, you need to make it precise. How you find your research methodology, and write this statement in 2 lines or 3 lines, and why you choose this. Need to bring out the references from your study, and need to mention them from theoretical perspective, from practical, or from whatsoever, from literature. You need to state the reference of your selected work from the literature. So in order to mentioning the slide of your research methodology, always try to bring the references in the slide as well. So our next question related to our Viva, yes. What are the key findings of your research, and how do they contribute to the field? This is also one of the most important questions asked in the Viva, because the purpose of the research is to contribute in the field of research, contribute in the real-time field. So if you are doing your research, you need to mention how this work will contribute in the field, how this work will contribute in the theory, how this work will help the policymakers. Whenever writing your work, and whenever you are going to give the answer, let's suppose you did your research in developing a product. So while doing a research in development of a product for Islamic banking, you can state that this research will help the practitioner to development of the product, and there are also a few of the limitations of this study that will also be a guideline for the practitioners and for future researchers as well, that these points are the limitation, and they can also work for that limitations or findings of the research. These things are policy. These things or product development guidelines will be helpful to develop a real-time product that would be beneficial for the clients. So, but if you really find anything good or anything that would be helpful for the practitioner, that would be helpful for the researchers, that would be helpful to be a part of the theory, that will be the extension of the existing theory, then you can write this thing. Then you can explain how my work will be a great contribution for that work. Okay. Now we will proceed for our next question. Yes. What is the novelty and genuineness of your research? This is one of the also most important questions that always been asked from all of the researchers. So whenever you are doing your research, don't even think that this question will not come to your way. Although all of the questions written in these slides and has been discussed over my session are very important. These are the questions that has its already importance, and always researchers are facing these problems while giving the answers. So my purpose to make this presentation is to make your journey easy. So what is the novelty or genuineness of your work? You need to give the answer of this question from your theory, from your practical backgrounds, and from the literature. Let's suppose you are working on organizational culture, creativity, and motivation as a mediator, or bringing other variables in your framework. You are using one of the theory, you are using the methodology. You can find out the studies related to your work. If you can find out the same framework as you are working, you can also bring the extension while bringing one more variable or other variable bringing to your study. Or you are integrating an other theory. You are integrating an other, let's suppose you are integrating other theory or other audience or other industry. So whatsoever the things you are doing, you need to mention these are the novelty related to the previous frameworks. I use this theory. This theory is the extension of and novelty for this framework, and this study has been conducted. And we have conducted this study in manufacturing industry or this class of industry, but previously this framework has not been tested in these areas. Okay, and the previously studies find this framework, this is more similar to this framework, but combination of this framework is a combination of 3 frameworks, 4 frameworks, 5 frameworks, and bringing the variables from other frameworks. This is the novelty in a theory, in my framework, in my audience, in my area of research. So this answer you can respond in this way, and while you will respond in this way, your answer, your panel will really love it and they will like it. You need to even make the slide. In your slides, you need to make the slide of novelty or genuineness of your work. While you're making the slide of novelty or genuineness of your work, novelty in theory, novelty in framework, novelty in literature, okay, you can make it in 3 ways. And while you are in your Viva, whenever you face this question, encounter with the same question, you will be very happy and love they ask you this question because you already arrange the complete answer. So this question can be asked from different ways. Even this question can be split in different areas, in different things. While you prepared the answer of these questions in a better way, you can even able to respond 10 or 15 other questions. How does your research build an existing literature? What is the contribution of your that will be the extension or that will be a part of the existing literature? So again, if we proceed with the previous question, while preparing for this question, you also can find out the answer of this question. How does your research build an existing literature? So this study brings these extensions in theory, in literature, this, and these all things will be part of the literature, and this study will be one of the guide for future researchers being a part of literature. So related to limitations, whenever your panel is asking about the limitations, how did you address them? You need to state the limitation of your work. You need to state some points. Some people do say that due to constraint of time, this study is limited to this thing, due to constraint of this thing, due to constraint of this thing. But you also can include few of the things in your thesis or in your research also, while writing the limitation parts. Due to audience, because different due to diversified audience, it was a little difficult to get the appropriate answers from the audience, because audience was reluctant to provide all of the secured and required information, and they want to show the answer only for the positivity and positive answers. So This was one of the very problematic thing. That's why collection of the data was a bit difficult. This was one of the limitations, and you also can write the limitations of the study from theoretical purpose or from practical perspective. Also, you can write, and other points you also can bring for your uh, convenience in your work to defend your work. How would you apply your research findings in a practical context? This question also can be covered in this question. So while you are preparing for the novelty question, you also will be able to write the complete answer. You also will be defend the complete answer. How would you apply your research findings in practical context? Let's suppose you did your working on product development, and the product was of Islamic banking product. So you can say the product development process and the parameters that introduced in this study was authentic from authentic sources, and it will be the guideline, and it will be helpful for practitioners when they will be in the process for practically incorporating or practically in the process of making a product for their clients, Islamic product. And you can give few of the example. This thing will be helpful because previous studies didn't encounter these things in their studies and didn't highlighted these areas in their studies. And while practitioners will be in the process to develop the product, they need to keep these points in their mind, because the purpose of the research is to make a guideline. Okay, while you are doing your research, this will be a guideline for the practitioners. Even that is a responsibility of the organizations to bring new products for their employees, for their customers, means external or internal customers. But the PhDs, postdoctorals, because the people are getting funding from the industries, and industries are providing the funding to the universities to get the work done from the researchers, because they know that our team is doing work, but they do have limitations. While a researcher of a PhD, while a researcher of a postdoctoral, they are doing the work in these areas, they will put their whole energies, and this piece of the thing is only for us, and we can get the guideline for from that person's work, because the aim of the person is doing work with the heart, and the researcher is doing their research from bottom of their heart, because they want to produce a great piece of paper, because this is actually one of the quality of a researcher, and they are spending their money on researchers to get great amazing things done. What are the key challenges you faced during your research, and how did you overcome them? Yes, in this way, what are the key challenges you faced during the research? You can write from your work. You can even write your key challenges, whatsoever the challenges you faced because of the constraint of the timings, because of the constraint of the funding. There was a bundle of challenges we need to face, or while in the process of data collection, the audience was very reluctant to respond, and these kind of things you can also explain. And also, if you are facing other problems, you can write down, but the problems should be genuine and real. You cannot write down because 1, 2, and 3 problems has been happened in my family, and my focus was out from the research. This would not be valid answer. So in any scenario, in any case, you need to give the answer related to the study. What are the problems you faced? the problems, there was a limited literature related to this work. There was a limited access of getting the data from this organization, or real-time gathering the real-time data from the organization, because while you are doing your quantitative research on primary data, it's not easy to gather the data from the audience. That is also one of the main problem, and how you overcome. You also can write down the steps how you overcome that challenges. You can explain to them in order to overcome this challenge. I gather a group of the audience, or I joined a meeting seminar in that organization for the purpose to collect the data. And while the audience was in the seminar, I get the permission from the management, and just entered into that organization, requested them to respond. So even if you follow this strategy, it's not 100% sure that you are going to 100% correct answers. This is not guaranteed. How do you justify theoretical framework you used? The justification of theoretical framework you used should be in line with your framework that you already used in your research. Means to say your finalized research framework. That means that framework has 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10 variables in it, and the variables need to get the support from the theory. Whatsoever theory you are going to use, means to say one theory or two theories, you are integrating two theories along with, you need to find out either your framework is operational framework, either your framework is a conceptual framework. So you have to find out what was the theoretically the justification for the framework. And while you are making the presentation, you need to give a guideline. You need to make the presentation in that way. While you have been asked this question, you just can open and go to that slide. Just panel, I request you to go me to the previous slide. Yes, this is my framework, and this elements, variables, have support from this theory. Theory mantra or theory concept is this, and the concept of these variables is this. So in order to integrate this theory with this framework, it's best fit, because I explored the literature, and the literature related to the theory. I do have a file, that means in Excel or in MS Word. I do have a file where I actually reviewed and highlighted the main points of different theories. And out of that theories, I find out this theory has been used previously from the previous authors, previous researchers with the framework, with these variables in these areas. So my work is related to this, and the best fit theory is related to the framework is this. 1 or 2 theories, and then rest leaves the things in the hands of your panel. Maybe sometimes they are there and they just guide you the best theory, or best theory from their knowledge. Even they guide you the best theory. I do have one point to state here. You just can accept, okay, I will explore this theory and will integrate this theory with my framework as per your suggestion. When you come up to your home, you can find out if that is your pre-Viva. You can find out either this theory is best fit, or otherwise the theory you already have discussed in your framework. You can use more beautiful words, you can use more justifications, and you can stick with the work that you already have done in your document. Or otherwise, just accept the justification from the panel and find out the things that is related to your framework. And yes, one more important thing, when you incorporate or integrate the theory suggested by your panel, still you need to give the justifications in your final Viva. Maybe they will ask you, this theory is not useful. It happened to me also in my Viva. I have been asked to remove this thing, and I also remove the things. Few of the things I have removed, and for few things I bring the justifications, and then panel becomes happy. Okay, this is the satisfied way to do the work. So justifications references are much more important. If you bring the justifications, if your words are very beautifully you are very beautifully able to align your words with your work and with the justifications, no one will ask you anything to remove or anything to do. So be very careful to respond to this question. It's also one of the very important question. While you need to give the justification of your theoretical framework, or they also can ask you how you integrate your theory with your framework, how you choose your theory, what was the way, what was the strategies that you find out this theory. So you always need to respond from the literature, how you find out the theory from the literature related to your framework. How would you defend your research methodology and conclusions against critics? Whatsoever critics you receive from the panel, how would you defend your research and your methodologies? Related to the critics, you should have clear answers. You should have clear references related to your work. When you have references in your hands, you will be okay and you will be very happy while defending your work. This question is also one of the questions related to, yes, related to previous question. You also can find out what are the methodologies. Yes, you can tell this is the methodology, and this is the actually outcome or conclusion of my work. So previously, this work has been done in these areas, and there was limitations of critics on this work. So my work is related to this thing, and the critics means to say my work, previous work has been conducted in construction industry related to leadership skills. So previous authors explored only transformational leadership or transitional leadership, but this work is exploring the other strategies of leadership, and uh, I am using 2 or 3 or 4 strategies of different leadership altogether in my work, and this is the theory that support my work. According to this theory, we can use 2 or 3 more approaches altogether to explore a context or explore the leadership behaviors or working patterns in an organization. So you can defend in this way, or the thing that I am discussing, yes, previously, a few days before, I was reading one of the theory that was related to the leadership theory, and in that theory, that was one of the part. I actually forget the exact name of the theory, yeah. But according to that, there are statement that that theory is about exploring 1, 2, or 3 approaches of leadership altogether in organization. So this is very important, how you actually defend your work, and the way giving them the answers precisely and in great manners is really appreciable thing that they always consider. Then what are the potential future research directions based on your study? Yes, you can tell the future directions out of your study that you already have mentioned in your research, that this research in future will be helpful for practitioners. This research can be a guideline for the product development team in Islamic banking, and this will be a great direction for the product development team working in Islamic banking on these areas. And according to the limitation of this study, they also can consider what are the limitations and which areas they can go for, and for which areas they can explore further things. So related to literature, literature for related to literature, you also need to mention how this study will be the guideline or direction for future research or for future researchers. For this answer, for this question, you have to give the answer from the point of perspective, theory perspective, literature perspective, and practitioner perspective. So all three perspectives should be there. Then the answering technique. Yes, I just want to discuss a few of the points related to the answering technique. Utilize PEEL technique. PEEL technique is point, evidence, explanation, and link. Whenever they ask you a question, you need to make a point. You should have a point, and then according to that point, the main point or main context that you do have, you need to bring the evidence. Okay, and then explain that evidence that this study from this reference, and then need to give the explanation. If they ask, you can provide them the link, or you also can link your work, your things all together. Need to manage the link between, like managing the link between point, evidence, and explanation. So need to make the link between point, evidence, and explanation, or otherwise also you can post the previous links or links of the literature, but this is the way that you can actually give the answers and follow this PEEL PAL technique. Handling the difficult questions, yes. There are different scenarios that as a student need to face. How we need to handle difficult questions, and there is a point where students just get nervous, or they feel a huge anxiety, huge burden on their head and shoulders. Some students start having panic attacks before Viva, because sometimes students or PhD candidates takes a lot of stress or tension for this scenario, because they perceive that there would be a panel for 5 or 6 people, and also if the Viva is open-ended, maybe my friends or my colleagues will also join that session, or there are many things they are always thinking about. So in order to manage this stress, they need to start walking, they need to start doing exercises before even 1 month before for their Viva, and also try to practice their Viva while in their room, or try to find out the things, how they can respond, how they can handle the complexities while they are practicing the Viva in loneliness or privacy. And also they can ask their friends, or they can ask their colleagues to help them in assisting the Viva techniques. And also they can ask them, I just want to give the Viva and I want to invite you in my MOOC Viva session, and this thing will really help you. Once you will conquer the session in front of your friends, colleagues, you will always be able to conquer the session in front of your panel. And then the most important thing is, yes, engaging with the panel is a worthwhile thing. Always try to engage and with them, maintain eye contact, and give them the positive gestures whenever asked a difficult question from you. Your way of responding should be very positive while taking a pause, bringing or revitalizing your energies. When you are able to rejuvenate, you can start giving the answer. Even you can take the pause. It's okay. It's absolutely normal. There is no need, if they ask you a question, and no need to just run or just be in hurry. It's okay. Take your time. And then, yes, celebrations after Viva. And this is one of the most important part. And yes, because after the Viva, you always enjoy your journey. You always see yourself on other step. Sources for success. Yes, there are bundle of sources that can help your success. Utilize various sources such as books, online courses, and peer support. Yes, these all points has been discussed, and still I am going to highlight the points. You need to get the guideline and direction from the papers, from the books, and from your peers. Also can get the guideline from different online courses, find out different strategies. Even you can attempt the research methodology, different means courses from different universities. Let's suppose you can say Coursera, Udemy. I also already still I am getting different courses from different institutions, different organizations. But I always prefer to get online courses. These courses always help our journey to groom. One of my strategies, whenever I'm teaching one of the subject to my students, I always take a course of 1 or 2 or 3 best universities and find out the material from that courses, and then always I make my preparations and make my quiz according to that things to help out and my students very well. And frequently, I am also attempting research methodology course from different universities like University of London, Harvard. So this should be one of the part of your life. If you want to be a researcher, once a researcher, always a researcher. Even it doesn't mean I'm saying that if you are a researcher, you cannot be in industry. If you are, one thing is more important. A researcher is doing a research in 3 years or 2.5 years, 4 years, 5 years. The research is actually is one of their real time experience. So industries try to understand if a PhD holder is working on a research project. That means that is a highly motivated and productive individual for your organization, while that PhD is teaching to the candidates, and while that PhD was not a PhD, you industry people were very welcoming for that person. And once that person is a researcher, so there is a very drawback of our societies, that we are as a corporate the corporate sector is not investing much on the researchers and not hiring the researcher in their organizations, because the one factor is researchers or PhD holders, they are the one who has a broader vision, and they can take their organization on a different momentum towards success. So researcher, either they are doing the research in the institutions, doing the researches for on different corporate projects, or on different university projects, either whatsoever, that always comes in their professional working profile. So whensoever you already have worked for your PhD thesis, you already have worked for writing the paper and explore different industries, data, and explore the different trends in different industries, you can write that things in your professional experience. So hopefully you find out the answers related to your questions very well. And this is from my side. If there is anything, you can write me an email, or you can anytime contact with me. This is from my side. This was all, and thank you so much. Jazakallah khair.